AskReddit by Adwin. What do we need to stop teaching the children? Kids learn by watching us. Whatever we want kids to do or not do starts with grown-ups addressing our own hang-ups, full stop. That play ends when you reach adulthood. Play is important, even when we're grown. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. George Bernard Shaw. You can get what you want if you're nice. It teaches children how to be manipulative and dishonest. Instead, teach them to handle no. Too many people grow up and get offended at being told no. Teachers and parents want their children to learn how to ask for things in a polite way but not how to handle rejection. My brother teaches children and he will actively tell kids no and encourage them to find alternative solutions that don't infringe on someone's decision. Edit. Happy New Year's. Wrote this while smashed at 2 AM in the morning. Had to deal with this with my daughter. We were at the park and she asked another girl if she could play with one of her dolls. She said no and next thing I know there's a temper tantrum being thrown because she wouldn't share. Got shit from my ex and my parents because I explained to her that not everyone has to share and she could say no if she wanted because it was her toy. That failure is something to be ashamed of and to avoid at all costs. We all fail sometimes and we need to be able to accept that. It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness, that is life. Captain Jean-Luc Picard. That you need talent to be good at something. Right on. So much can be learned, practiced, and become a skill. To push down their feelings and never cry. You don't heal unless you work through your emotions. Support them, don't scold. I tell my kids to not let their emotions control their actions. It is okay to be emotional, to cry, be angry, etc. What is not acceptable to lash out or fall apart because of those emotions. That you need to be friends with everyone. I've had to tell my kids this. Like when kids in their class don't ever want to play with them. Not everyone wants to be your friend, and that's okay. To just ignore bullies. As a former teacher, it does nothing to address the issue. The bullying persists 100% of the time. I've ignored kicks to the head in the locker room and the classroom, can confirm ignoring it just shows that you'll fucking take it. Replacement words for vagina, penis, etc. It's not inappropriate for a child to know basic anatomy, and this is only advantageous to predatory people. Edit. Yes, I know the vagina is not the vulva, that's why I said etc. I was just giving examples. And thank you kind stranger for the award. Christ, I remember my MILF trying to scold me after she was giving my then 4-year-old a bath and he said something about washing his penis. She tried to tell me that he shouldn't be saying that and that it would be a bad thing for him to say that at school. So ridiculous to pretend anatomy is vulgar. You are perfect. No, you are not. It's important to know your weaknesses and focus on your strengths. But also build on your weaknesses where possible too. Please isn't a magic word. It often won't get you what you want. I'm sorry doesn't erase a wrong and is only one small part of an apology, which the wronged party is not obligated to accept. Counterpoint. The willingness to politely ask, but take no for an answer just as politely can be ridiculously useful. In particular, girls need to be taught this. Part of advocating for yourself. They are being mean to you because they like you. I would love to show the people who say this how much I like them. That while they are special, they are not any more special than anyone else. Bluey Library. You're not special to everyone. Clip. https://yahoo.be/blrfa10hk0 close bracket. The Kids Show Bluey, one of my favorite clips, 125 mark. This show is gold. If he's mean to you, he likes you. I tell my daughter, it doesn't matter if he likes you, if he's not kind he's not worth your time. Breakfast cereal is healthy. Don't you dare say Captain Crunch isn't healthy. It's a well-balanced, nutritional breakfast, especially when eaten out of an empty Cool Whip or butter container. To accept collective punishment. Whomever did something to get in trouble for is who gets the punishment. So many teachers do this to kids and it just breeds resentment for both the teacher and the kid who keeps getting the whole class in trouble. I don't want my kids to be prepared to accept this as adults, and just deal with it from the govt, society, their employer, etc. Similarly, schools need to stop giving victims the same punishment that their bullies get. Stranger danger. It has some decent basic principles about safety, but the unfortunate truth is we need to teach children how to detect if adults in their life are treating them inappropriately just as much as strangers. Plus, the reality is that most people don't go around hurting strangers. Abusers generally know their victims. I before E, except after C. This rule has so many exceptions that it should not be considered a rule. Except when your foreign neighbor Keith receives 8 counterfeit beige slaves from feisty, caffeinated weightlifters. Weird. Please teach your children how to not spray spit and mucus everywhere. Cover sneezes and coughs within your elbows. Keep fingers out of noses and mouths. Don't buzz lips, it sprays spit. Being a kindergarten teacher is living in one big petri dish. I'll pony this one up with proper hand washing. Not just splashing under the faucet for a few moments but wetting hands, turning off the water, soaping hands well, then turn water on and rinse. That everyone should be friends with everyone. Some people will not like you. You will not like some people. That is a good thing. Challenge fosters growth, and our differences help us to learn and experience life outside our own experience. You don't need to be friends with everyone, you just need to be able to approach conflict in level-headed and reasonable manner. I don't know if this was already said, but teaching your kids that if a kid bullies you, it means they like you. Teaching your kids that they have to love their family just because they're family. Teaching your kids that they have to respect their elders just because they're old. That we have to invite the entire class to your birthday party. As a teacher, I'm fine with that as long as you don't pass out the invites in front of students who aren't invited. I would never do that with a group of adults. How can you expect kids to react well? Anything without larger context. Pretty much everything listed so far shouldn't be taught without context, healthy skepticism, and a lot of critical thinking. They need to know all the toxic things so they can recognize them, hopefully reject them, and be part of a better culture. And teachers, I see you. My generation, X, expects way too much parenting from teachers. IMHO. I hate that kids are often taught information but not taught to understand it. Not taught how to critically investigate claims. And how to tell good source from bad source. It's okay to not forgive people. I was always taught to accept people's apologies when I was little, and when I was sad as a teenager I finally realized sometimes it's okay to not forgive someone. There was a BoJack Horseman episode about this. Herb, a former friend of BoJack, is dying due to cancer, so BoJack visits him to apologize for all the bad stuff he's done. However, Herb refuses his apology since BoJack managed to ruin his life and this forgiving won't make him feel any better. Boys, don't hit girls. Girls, don't hit boys. Should be taught equally. Obviously there are exceptions like self-defense. Also, boys, no is no. Girls, no is no. Edit to say and clarify, we should stop teaching this as only a one-sided thing. It should be taught to both equally. Right? My dad was so annoying with this. If I hit my sister, It was don't hit girls. If she hit me, it was well clearly did something to deserve it. What a great way to teach one kid resentment and another that they're above consequence. That ugly equals bad evil. I partially blame TV animation for this one though. This often makes kids fear elderly people and make unfair connections between appearance and personality. That's why I liked Home Alone. The scary old man turned out to be very kind and hit the burglars with a shovel. That rote memorization is the same thing as intelligence creativity. Abstinence-only sex education. Please teach these kids about contraception and how it works. It's been proven that comprehensive sex education is way better at preventing teen pregnancies than abstinence only. Also, sex education gives children the language to speak out if they are being sexually abused. That everyone else's feelings come before their own. She is being mean to you because they like you. That you have to give relatives a hug or kiss if they ask for one. When I see my nieces and nephew, I always ask them if I can give them a kiss and if they can give me a kiss. Sometimes, they say no to both. Other times I get a huge hug. I'm trying to teach their grandparents about the importance of bodily autonomy, but it's going to be tough. I've heard them tell the kids I don't get a kiss. I'm really sad now. Please don't make a 4-year-old responsible for your feelings. They're allowed not to want to kiss you and shouldn't be made to feel bad about it. Edit. Words are hard. That adults know everything. The amount of parents teaches others that just tell kids things with the explanation of because I know best is harmful. I love when a kid or student asks me a question I don't know. It means we can explore it together, which is also why I will never lock up my phone when teaching despite principals saying it distracts. It's a research tool. Dart. I also admit when I make a mistake, or when I'm unsure of a certain topic lesson. I explicitly state that I'm not good at this, but I researched some good lessons online and asked other teachers for help. I don't feel there is anything we need to stop teaching kids that is common. I feel we need to teach children boundaries. I don't know if it's COVID related or what, but I work with children and these last few years I've noticed kids are having huge boundary issues. It seems that while parents were teaching them about electronics, hygiene, or even just how to prepare food for themselves, the parents forgot to teach the part where the child has to ask for these things, not just go and take them. And that generalizes to school or other people's houses. My sister-in-law never corrected her son when he would take things from my kids. They would get up to get a drink, or bathroom, or something. They weren't done with the toy, yet he would swoop in and take it. They got up, so he can take it now. One time he didn't bring his iPad, so he took my son's. My son wanted it to play on it, so we told my nephew, very nicely, that our son wanted his iPad back and took it and gave it back to my son. My sister-in-law packed up and left the house with the kids. I'm all for sharing, but only if my kids want to share their things. That doctors are scary. Many parents threaten their kids with the doctor when kids don't listen to them. This is a new one for me. Is this common? As a teacher, I'm always amused by the things people think we teach kids. Stop teaching. You know what I spent significant time teaching this year? That soiled toilet paper goes in the toilet. That you can control how loudly you burp. That you have to charge a laptop computer for more than a minute to fill the battery. Then you get the, why don't schools teach kids how to do taxes? Yeah, kids love taxes. We couldn't get middle school kids to stop playing Fortnite long enough to focus on the human body unit for a week. I'm just amused by all the things people think happen in schools. And of course there is the notion that parents can teach kids, too. That's what we're doing with our son. If there's something important he needs to know, we're teaching it to him. But teaching children doesn't necessarily mean at school. Children also learn from imitation, and the internet, advertisements, from how they are treated and how others are treated. That it's acceptable to use devices in public loudly without headphones. The amount of people blasting TikToks in the airport or a restaurant is so annoying. Family is everything. No, sometimes they're trash and need to be let go of. That and you can only do so much for family. Hell, anyone. I had to cut my mother out of my life basically. Emotionally at least. We would talk and text. But I wanted to know nothing really going on in her life. She dug a lot of holes in her life and me and my siblings were tired of bailing her out. She is doing a lot better now. But she had to finally do it for herself. One of my good friend's exes used to regularly smack the shit out of him, and he never once laid his hands on her. It probably would have never even crossed her mind that she was engaging in domestic abuse, but that's exactly what she was doing. The difference is that she was open about it and her friends and family would witness it and do nothing. Had it been reversed, I cannot imagine what their actions would have been. Food pyramid as it is. It's wrong. Shut up and eat your damn grains. Only 13 more servings needed before dinner. I've been struggling with what to teach kids about emotion. I'm amazed at how often we tell children, and adults, to control their emotions, but do you really control your emotions? If we could, depression would not be a thing. I've been trying to change what I say to please control your outburst or please lower your voice, because the more I think about it, stop being angry is not a reasonable request. I always tell my kids it's okay to be angry, mad, frustrated, whatever, but it's not okay to do X about it. Y would be a better choice. That you are only successful and happy with a college degree, married, and have children. And 2 divorces and a boat. That they have to kiss and hug adults. Boys will be boys, yes, they roughhouse, that's fine. Every kid does it. But saying it when they pull another kid's hair or doing something else to be mean or get a reaction from that other person because they have a crush on you is something to stop teaching kids. Our just goes being dudes is the most acceptable personification of that phrase. To have those Mr. Sketch markers. Grape and cherry were the best. To be quite compliant and to not ask questions. A perfect recipe for an adult in development who will be freely manipulated by the news media. Racist words. The first time I heard a racist word was when my black friend came to me crying in tears in 2nd grade. To tell me that somebody called him the N-word, he had to explain it to me. That day I understood how hatred is taught. I first heard the N-word from a movie and I thought it was just another swear word that adults say to each other all the time. Then next day comes, I say it in my little friend group, and you can guess how the rest of the day went. That active shooter drills are normal. They are not. They are mostly useless now because most shooters have gone through them too and know what they are teaching on how to get away from a shooter, then they create a plan accordingly. Safety tips can be given, but again, most shooters know what is being taught and they act accordingly. Just work hard and you can have anything you want. Yeah, no. Right? The truth, if you work hard, there is a slightly higher probability that you can live a life that you won't hate. That you have to love and support your blood family even if they're toxic and abusive. That leaving Lego on the floor and turning the light off is somehow not a war crime against the People's Democratic Republic of Bayfeet.